Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go!
I've always been in a wheelchair for as long as I can remember due to a cognitional condition I was born with. It is what it is, you know. I have no hard feelings really, and I decided to live my life a long time ago and never dwell on the things I have no control over. I'm 24 years old, my family loves me, and I have a wonderful fiancé who loves me as well and takes good care of me in every sense of the word. So yeah, I chose to be positive about my condition even though I surely understand that making it in this country in a wheelchair is not as easy as I make it sound, sadly. There are definitely struggles you'll face if you're in my place, but you decide either you keep piling those struggles over your shoulders as you go, or just let them go and be as light as you can. Anyway, sorry for the long intro, but I just needed to get that off my chest first. My story starts with a normal trip to the grocery store, as many of the stories about Karens do. I drove my car for 15 minutes and went to the local grocery store to fulfill my shopping list, like any normal person would do. I parked my car outside and rolled myself to the store in my wheelchair, aiming to get this done as fast as I can and go back home as I still have a lot of work to finish. Once I'm in, I search my pocket for my shopping list and lay my eyes on the first item on the list. Canned beans. I love canned beans. I know it may not be the most popular food here, but my father was born in the Middle East. Let's just say that beans are a big deal over there, and so when he came to this country, he always craved some of the food he used to have back there. And so he started looking for it as much as he can. Well, needless to say, we picked after him of course and ended up sharing his taste in the food pretty much. Anyways, I head to the aisle where they keep the canned beans and surprise, surprise, it was not there. I can't find it. I took a look around and they rearranged the aisles. Bummer. I searched for a worker there and asked him where I could find the beans, and he takes a while himself to tell me where it went because understandably this is pretty new to everyone pretty much. He then tells me and I go. I take my time finding my favorite canned beans I'm always buying, and that's when it started. Hey you, get out of the way punk. I didn't realize she was talking to me at first, but when I looked back, I saw her eyes trying to burn a hole in me. Whoa lady, no need to be nasty out of nowhere like that. All you had to do was ask me nicely to move and I would move. Plus, there is plenty of space for you to pass through anyways. What's wrong with you? What's your problem? And of course, I was practically talking to an entitled machine and she didn't hear a thing I said except for the imaginary insults that didn't even come out of my mouth. What did you just say to me? Are you saying that I'm a liar? Did you just call me nasty? You know what? I will not go along with you on this pointless conversation. I took a step aside and gestured to her with my hand to move forward. There, let's just forget about this and start over. Go ahead, ma'am, please. For some reason, she lost it. A normal person wouldn't, but she's a no normal person. She's a Karen, a certified one at that. She snatched my canned beans out of my hands and threw it at my face, causing it to slam into my face and shatter my glasses. Then on her way out of the aisle, she kicked my wheelchair real hard, causing it with me in it to hit the shelves, which caused some of the canned beans up there to fall down on my head, which caused some cuts and bruises, no doubt. Apparently she was satisfied with what she did after that and tried to leave, but that's when the other customers around stopped her from leaving and one of them called for a worker and a manager. Some of them came and checked to see if I'm okay. The manager comes and asks, "What's going on here?" "These idiots are preventing me from shopping freely in this store. What kind of trash store is this?" Witnesses started telling the manager what happened, and some of them urged him to call an ambulance for me so they would tend to my wounds. He complies, calls 911, and briefly the cops arrive along with the EMTs. With a pile of evidence varying from security footage, witnesses' statements, and the cuts and bruises on me, it was pretty much a no-brainer, and the cops ended up slapping handcuffs on Karen's hands while she was screaming and making a ruckus. Of course, I was asked the famous question, "Do you want to press charges?" And of course I said yes. He was charged with assault, battery, hate crime, and surprisingly, robbery. When the cops started searching her, they ended up finding some items she snatched off the shelves and stacked into her purse before she had her encounter with me. Maybe that's why she was in a hurry. Anyways, I later learned that she got 3 years in prison and was bound to attend anger management sessions to help her ease up a bit and to better control herself. I truly hate being in those kind of situations, but I understand that there is not much you can do when you find yourself right in the middle of one. Karens will be Karens, and you're bound to come across one at any point of your life. I'm getting married next year. I love strawberries and I want some on my wedding cake. My plan is to have a 4-tier cake where the bottom 2 are completely separate entities with different flavors and the top 2 are lemon and strawberry. My mother is mildly allergic to strawberries. Will have a headache and a mild rash if she eats one, but is fine with eating food that has touched strawberries. She's absolutely insists with my plan to include strawberries in my wedding cake and continuously makes passive-aggressive comments about how wedding RSVPs include a section for the guest allergies and she would never serve something a guest couldn't eat. I explained to her that she's more than free to eat the other 2 cakes. They will be entirely strawberry-free. They aren't even touching the top cake, and more importantly, my mother has diabetes. I won't be eating more than a small slice to begin with. My fiancé agrees she's being selfish. I'm making this post because I was telling my dad about this issue and she walked in and added that this is my only daughter's one and only wedding. I want to be able to eat every part of the cake. Haven't been able to close my mouth since, from pure shock. I mean, it's my only wedding, and she sees nothing wrong with saying something so insanely out of pocket. Well, my dad agrees with her, so maybe I'm taking this too seriously, and I can skip strawberries for a day. I really don't want to, but I also don't want to make this a big drama. My mom is used to getting whatever she wants, and I'm used to my dad siding with her, but I really thought my wedding will be the exception. And now for some comments on the post. Not the jerk. As long as it's actually safe for her to eat the cake and you aren't downplaying her allergy, even if she's okay with being near strawberries, another tier of the same cake would be worrisome to me. But as long as she's not completely excluded from dessert, either the other tiers or another dessert, it's fine. She's right that you should have a section for allergies on the RSVP though. Make sure there is at least one option for everyone, and that things with a certain ingredient are clear. I have a friend who's allergic to lots of fruit. We gave him a heads up about our cake before the wedding, but we were at another wedding and the cupcakes had strawberries in them that weren't obvious. My husband happened to eat one and tell him, "Hey, I just had a cupcake and it had a strawberry in it. Heads up." I had this guy grab the cupcake first, it could have been bad. My husband is a vegetarian and we were at a wedding. A waiter was passing out egg rolls and he asked if there was meat in it, and they had no clue. Knowing allergies, you can say to the waiters, make sure you can answer that X has Y in it. Another commenter adds, not the jerk. My mother-in-law and 3 other guests share the same reasonably significant food allergy and didn't expect our wedding cake to be suitable for them. Hubs and I wanted them to be able to enjoy it with us, so I arranged for there to be a separate cake which they could eat, which was decorated to match the main cake. They were over the moon and so appreciative, but none of them accepted it or would have kicked off if it wasn't available. You already have 2 tiers of cake that she can eat, so to my mind there isn't an excuse. You already have 2 tiers of cake that she can eat, so to my mind there isn't an issue, except that she's not getting her own way 100%. The third commenter goes with, she's making it seem like the most important aspect of this day. She's made a weird power play over cake. Bit bizarre? She's making it seem like this entire event is based on guests eating all the layers of a cake. So I had a job at the same fast food restaurant off and on for a total of 5 years. And in these years I have witnessed so many entitled parents/kids and malicious compliance stories that I can write a book about it. I will start with this one. Some backstory. I started my job at the same moment the restaurant was set up. So in these years, I got to know a lot about the company itself and knew most of the locations. I also knew that our restaurant was the northernmost in the country. And the province next to us, let's call it Province L, had no restaurant within the franchise. Not every employee knew this, but I did. I also knew that when we had no products that needed to get tested by the community, this would be at restaurants in the capital of the country, capital restaurants. And my province and Province L were nowhere near these restaurants. Because of my experience and bonds I had with employees and customers, the managers knew that I did not need help with crazy customers only when I called them. On to the story. There was a new vegetarian option tested only in the capital restaurants. Not every customer knew this, so when they asked for the product, I explained that we were not part of the test group. I always got a good response to this until this happened. On a not-so-busy night, a young Karen walked in and pulled it for my cash register. The conversation went something like this. Me, with a polite tone, "Welcome to X restaurant. How can I help you?" "I want your vegetarian option now." "Sorry miss, only the capital restaurants belong to the test group. Sadly, we don't serve this option yet." Karen screaming, "You're lying. I had it yesterday at Province L, and they told me it was served everywhere. So I want it. And since the customer is always right, you need to serve me what I asked." And that's where I placed my trap card. We cashiers get yelled at a lot, but since I knew that she was lying or mistaking us for another restaurant and yelling, I decided to play along. "Oh, I'm so sorry, I was confused with another product. I haven't had the sandwich yet. Is it any good?" "I really liked it, and I'm happy that you finally have a vegan option for the sandwiches." "We already had that." "I see, there is only one problem here, you see? I know for a fact that Province L doesn't serve any of these sandwiches. Even better, none of our restaurants are in Province L." Karen's face became red, but not from shame. Oh no, it's from anger. Karen screams, "Don't have that tone with me. I want to speak to your manager." So I called my manager. Trap card activated. You see, I knew that my manager was in the kitchen from a few customers, and I knew that when Karen started screaming for the first time, my manager would listen in. Manager was a large grin. "What seems to be the problem here?" "Your employee has an attitude. I want a discount." I say, Karen wanted to order the vegan option that she ordered at our restaurant in Province L. The manager grabbed his phone and showed Karen the list with all the restaurants and all the provinces. And what a surprise! Province L was not on there. He tells her, "You see, it might be the case that you mistook us for another franchise. In that case, I would not do anything. But since you started to yell at my employee, I would ask you to get the hell out of my restaurant, or do you want me to call security?" Karen's face was priceless. With both anger and convulsion, she stormed off, but not before I told her to have a nice day. Edit, for those who are wondering and asking in the comments, it's not Canada.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.